Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with a weekly Dow analysis for you for the trading week, beginning Monday 31st of October after New York session for Monday is closed. This is my daily chart for the Dow. I have a main historic wave count and an alternate. The main historic wave count sees the Dow as within a primary third wave down. The alternate sees it in the very early stages of a new downwards correction at cycle degree for a double combination or a double flat. So I'm going to use the main historic wave count for this daily chart. Either way, both of my main and historic wave counts expect further downwards movement, just one's a lot more bearish than the other. So for this wave count within primary 3, it has to subdivide an intermediate degree into a 5-wave impulse. We've had the end of 1 black, and I think we're still looking for a little bit more upwards movement for the end of 2 black. 2 can't move beyond the start of 1. This wave count's invalidated with movement above 12,876. I expect this wave 2 black is unfolding as a double combination. We have an A, B, C flat correction. It's a regular flat. B has not moved beyond the start of A, so it's not a running flat. It's a regular flat with a truncated C wave. We have the flat correction and the second structure joined by a zigzag in the opposite direction labelled X, and here's a second structure, A, B, C, a zigzag trending upwards for wave Y blue, the second structure in this double combination for 2 black. Within the zigzag for Y blue, wave C pink will reach equality in length with A pink at 12,538.46, so that's a target for a little bit more upwards movement before this is all done. Although it is possible that it could be over here, I have 3 hourly wave counts for you today, and we can use the confirmation and validation points between them to work with those. It looks all pretty typical. If it was over here, it's got an overshoot of the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio of the orthodox length of wave 1 black. When corrections tend to correct to these Fibonacci ratios, they do tend to overshoot them. So this would look pretty typical if it was all over here. Taking you now to the first of 3 hourly wave counts with the low for B pink down here. Is this point down here? This first hourly wave count assumes that the trend remains the same until proven otherwise. We don't have any confirmation today of a trend change for the Dow, so we should assume that it's still going to continue upwards. Within wave C pink, this main hourly wave count looks at it as a simple impulse with an extending third wave. So we have 1, 2, and now within 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it needs a 5th wave up to end 3 green. At 12,323.53, wave 3 green will reach 2.618 length of 1, and at 12,326.18, wave 5 orange will reach 0.618 the length of wave 3 orange. So there's a very small short-term target zone for the next piece of upwards movement if this main hourly wave count's correct. Price has to remain above or not below, actually not move below 11,939.95. Wave 4 can touch the end of wave 1, its movement below this price point, which would invalidate the wave count. So if price remains above this price point and it turns on up tomorrow, then use this target, and this would be our expectation for the next piece of upwards movement. We'd then be looking out for another 4th wave correction, which at that stage can't move into wave 1 green price territory, and would redraw the trend channel around the green wave degrees to tell us where that 4th wave may end. For this piece of upwards movement, the middle of this 3rd wave, I've drawn the channel from 2 to 4 and a copy on 3. It may tell us where the final 5th wave upwards ends. And the target's the same as on the daily chart for the whole upwards movement to end. So this main hourly wave count expects probably about a week of more upwards movement with a downwards 4th wave correction in the middle of it yet before it's all finally over. Alternatively, it is possible that the whole structure is complete. From this low to this high, we can see a complete 5-wave impulse. And there are a couple of adequate Fibonacci ratios. They're not too far off, it's detailed in my text article, but they're less than a 10% variation, so they're adequate. So wave C pink and so wave Y and wave 2 black could all have been over at this high here, and so far this downwards movement could possibly be seen as a developing 5-wave impulse. Price remains within this trend channel though, so we don't have a trend channel breach of this final C wave. We don't have any confirmation of a trend change. Any movement above 12,284.31 would obviously invalidate this wave count. At that stage, we should use that mid to long-term target, which is at least a week away on the daily chart. If we see movement outside and below this trend channel, we'll have some trend channel confirmation that this piece of upwards movement is an impulse and it's over. Movement below 11391.29 would provide stronger confirmation that we have had a trend change on the Dow. At that point, I'd be a lot more confident that 2 black should be over and 3 down should then be underway. The reason why this is a confirmation point for a trend change is because of this alternate wave count here. It's all the same to this point here, and this alternate's looking at the possibility that wave C pink could be an ending expanding diagonal. It hinges on this little piece of movement here. I've checked this carefully on a 5-minute chart for both wave counts. It's ambiguous. It can be seen as either a 3 or a 5. It has a slightly better fit as a 3-wave structure. An ending diagonal requires all of its subwaves to be zigzags, so this can be seen as a 3-wave zigzag. Here we have a zigzag. Wave 3 green would be a 5-3-5 zigzag. We'd be expecting further downwards movement for wave 4 green, because for a diagonal the fourth wave should overlap into the first wave price territory, so it should take price below 11652.28. But for a diagonal, wave 4 may not move beyond the end of 2. This wave counts invalidated with movement below 11391.29. So if the first hourly wave count is invalidated with downwards movement, then expect price to keep going to at least below 11652, but probably not below this point. If it does move below this point, then we've probably had a pretty big trend change for the Dow, and at that stage you can expect it's pretty likely that price will start to go down further with strong and increasing momentum. For this second alternate wave count, we're expecting a zigzag down to complete, and then although this line is straight up, it should have an overlapping zigzag structure, a final zigzag upwards for the final fifth wave towards the target that we have on the daily chart. So the situation at this stage is somewhat unclear for the Dow. While price remains above 11391.29, we can expect it's pretty likely that we're going to see further upwards movement. The only question is how choppy and overlapping is that upwards movement going to be, and how long will it take? Probably about a week. But if price moves below 11391.29, then I can't see another alternate allowing for further upwards movement at this stage, and so at that stage we'd have some pretty strong confirmation of a big trend change on the Dow. That's all for me today with your Dow analysis, and I hope that you all had a most fabulous weekend.